what I'm planning is, after logging in, I wanted to take the users to a dashboard. So we're gonna be needing a page, a dashboard page, and some, maybe some pages. Maybe we're gonna put in some settings page just to make use of the routing stuff that we have here. So okay, so maybe let's try to add routing now. So yeah, let's continue with that. Hmm. So the next thing that we wanted to do is we're gonna create a we're gonna install the React router package to to have these different pages in our application. Right now we only have one page here, and that is the the index page. What I wanted to do is, if I go to the dashboard, I'm going to be taken to the dashboard page. So let's do that. Okay, so we have this here. Let me just make this bigger. So we have this React router package to help us in achieving that. Okay, so all right, so we already installed that earlier. So we have installed React Router DOM, and then the other packages that we're gonna need here. So right now, let's just try to build something here in the pages. Maybe something like dashboard. This is for the dashboard page, and then let's just create a simple React function here for the dashboard. And then I also wanted to have a login.jsx, login, the login page. Notice that this is really not the convention here, but I just wanted to have every time I create pages in my application, in my React applications, I just wanted to have a separate distinction between a component and a specific page. So for specific pages, I really like this approach to have lowercase for the pages as well. So dashboard, login, so that we have a separate distinction between components and the JSX files that we want to represent as the pages. Okay, so these components right here, yeah, we all know that all of these are React components. They are all components at the primary level, but there are some instances that you're gonna need a specific component to be a page, and some specific components to be a just a reusable component. So right now I wanted to create this approach here to create a separate distinction between them. So this is just a dummy page here. So most of the time we're gonna see some pages when you log into a specific app dashboard from from some apps that you've used before. You're gonna see these pages here, the dashboard, the settings. So we're gonna create that. Let's just have this as an example, by the way. Right now, okay, so I'm also gonna create this as a separate component, and this one as well, settings. And what I wanted to do is just paste in the login component here. So gonna have a consistent pattern. So I'm adding the login component on the login page, and then instead of doing this, I will just I will just I will just do something like this. But don't worry about this. We're gonna replace this with a React route later to help you understand what this what this all about. Okay, so login, components login. So it's not actually, it's kind of confused, by the way. So let me just import that. Import login from page login, something like that. And it's gonna work the same actually. Alright. Export default function, login component. Alright, so let's make this bigger as a convention. Okay, there you go. So it's not gonna actually allow us, so for components it's always gonna be uppercase. So the first letter would be uppercase. All right, so yeah, and for the dashboard, this is not gonna work. This is still this won't work yet because we haven't done the routing here. So let's do that actually. So later we are gonna separate the routes here, but for now let's just do this on one file. Okay, so we have here dashboard, we have pages here, dashboard, the login, the settings. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna close these guys here, and we're just gonna actually just follow this tutorial. So we're gonna import this one here, that one, there you go. And right after that we are, no, actually we're gonna import that on the main JSX, not here. Sorry about that. This one. Okay, so this, don't get this confused. So we're just importing the create browser router and the router provider from the React router DOM, and then right after that it says in the documentation that we need to create a router object using the create browser router hook. So let's do that. Okay. All right. So okay. So now that we have this pasted, it says here that we're actually telling React here to like create a router, and then I want this specific path to display this component. It's just that. Okay, so if we try to reload this, and no, it's not gonna work yet because we haven't added this one. So if we added this one, if we added this, there you go. You'll see that we are loading the this specific component here. But instead of doing that, we can actually set this one here as our login component. And wait up. So the login component, instead of doing that, we are just going to set that up, and then we're gonna import the login from page login, that one. See? Now if I try to import the what's this? If I try to import the dashboard page here, I can do something like this one. Dashboard. That one. And we're actually gonna add another path here, dashboard, and then let's just copy and paste this. And then if we try to visit the dashboard, we're not gonna see the 404 anymore. So this is how routing work here, and when using React router. Okay, so this is how it works. So just gonna add in some the path, and then yeah, it's gonna take you to different route. So just like doing something like the traditional way when you're writing PHP. So this is how this is implemented here. Okay, so but we are going to create we're gonna make this one, we're gonna separate this on a separate file, so it's much easier for us. But for now, let's just stick with this, and then let's build the login functionality here. So each time so every time I type in the correct email and password, we're gonna redirect the user to the dashboard page. Of course, we're gonna protect this page, but we're gonna save that for later, of course. Okay, so let's just stick with this. So I promise it's gonna make sense later. Okay, so the plan is, after logging in, we are going to redirect the user here to the dashboard. So that's the plan. So let's do that. Okay, so let's close this up, and let's go back to the login.jsx files. We're gonna put the logic here. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to do is create the login functionality here. So I'm gonna type in maybe something like const handle login. Oh, sorry. Const. No, it really doesn't matter what. It really doesn't matter what name of the function that you decide for this. It's just a pretty common convention in, in React, in that you see in React projects, to have this kind of naming, handle then login with handle submit, something like that. So I'm just using this as for this video, but it's really up for you to it's really up to you what you're gonna use. Okay, so so I'm gonna make this simple. Right after submit, I'm gonna console.log this. So log in. So if I try to make this form, I'm gonna say on submit, and I'm gonna run this function. In the browser, if I submit this, if I click the submit, I click submit, I'm gonna expect to like have this let's use Google Chrome instead. I'm kind of used to using Google Chrome here. I was trying out something new with the Firefox, but yeah, let's just use Google Chrome instead. Okay. So inspect, gonna copy and paste it. Let's close this up. All right, there you go. So if I click this button here, it's actually redirecting me. So we haven't this is what happens when you don't prevent you don't use the prevent default here. So it's going to use the default behavior of the submit button. So we're gonna add some code to like have us not redirect to the page. So let's do something like the prevent default here. That one. Okay, let's try that again. All right. So if I click this, you're gonna see the login. So just like what we did here. So yeah. By the way, I'm using Console Ninja to output this. So Console Ninja is a VS Code extension that I'm using to automatically print whatever the value that you have on the console log. So it's much faster this way actually. Okay, so yeah, we have this functionality. We know that it works, that when we try to click the submit button, it's gonna submit submit the data here. So what I wanted to do next is I wanted to make sure that I captured the email and the password. So since this is gonna be simple, I don't want the the form, the component here to re-render every time I make changes to the email and the password. So what I wanted to do is just capture the value of the email and the password right after the user clicked the button. So we can actually see that GitHub code Copilot um, suggests us this code here, which we will actually use. So just follow along. Const email target email value. So if I try to reload this, if I console.log this, the email and the password, we will actually see that we will get the value of the password here. So yep, that one. See, now that we know that we are able to get the value, because these two values here are the data that we will pass to the Laravel Backend API later. So we need to make sure that these data right here, the email, the password, are actually passed when we click the handle login button. Okay, so yeah, let's make that handle the login form submission. That one. This is much cleaner this way. So now now that we know that we are able to get the value of this value of the email, the password. Let's try to like make an API request. Make an API request to our Laravel backend API. But before that, let's make sure that the API is actually working. So what we needed to do, since we already have that code in the previous video, let's just start Apache in MySQL here. So if you've been following along, I'm gonna assume that you already have SAMP and Apache MySQL for this tutorial. So yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly go to the Laravel code that I have previously. So let me just open up a new Explorer file here. I mean Windows Explorer, to find that specific code that I have previously. We also have a GitHub repo for this, so don't worry. I'm also pasted that in the description below. Okay, let me just find that here. So let me just. So it's in the HD docs and Laravel. So this little guy here. So for this one, I just wanted to like copy and paste this specific code here. I know the directory. Let's just close it, and I wanted to like open up a new command prompt. If you're using Linux, it's gonna be called terminal, but they're just similar. They're the same actually. So okay, so I'm gonna cd to that specific directory, and I'm gonna run the server. So I'm gonna type in php artisan serve. So yeah, this is a Laravel app. So this is how. Yep. Okay. So this is how you start the server. All right. So I wanted to check if the one that the one that we did previously is still working. So okay, we have the Apache and the MySQL database server running here, and we already have the our REST API with Laravel Sanctum backend running as well. So what I wanted to do is open up the Postman app and try to see if we can simulate the if we can simulate the login. Okay, so this one, I'm gonna send the request, make sure that it's post. So let's just try to pretend here that this email and password is coming from the form, the login form, but just for this instance, we are using the this Postman, this application, to make a post request to our backend REST API. So we have this API v1 login. This is the endpoint that we have. So we're also gonna copy and paste this. Actually, so it works. It works. So I know that when we make a request here, we're gonna be receiving this type this, let me just zoom this in. Not really sure how to zoom this in, but you just make your screen bigger when you watch this. Okay, so access token. Okay, that's good. That's great. All right, so now that we have these guys, these in check, let's go ahead and import Axios to create an API request here. Okay, now that we have Axios, yeah, I really like Git. This is what I really like about GitHub Copilot. It just types you the correct code, so you don't have to type. But now, don't get me wrong, please have you're not gonna really learn how to even though GitHub Copilot suggests you the correct code, it's not really that simple to write code in general. So you really need to have the basics before actually relying to this AI tool. Okay, so yeah, but I admit that it's this really this really makes my life easier. Okay, so Axios post, did I get the syntax right? Okay, so the next parameter here would be email and password. All right, and instead of comma, let's have a close parentheses, and then actually we have the dot then, which is the callback function. Yep, and also we're gonna catch the errors here, because we're gonna need these errors here, these errors that we have tested earlier. So if we something like, let me just show you an example. I'm gonna make this email I'm gonna send a request that has a blank email, email value, and look see what happens here. If I send the request, oh, sorry, what happened again? Okay. Oh, sorry about that. I've replaced the endpoint here. Okay, so let's send the request again. Yeah, it says here we have errors. Email field is required. We didn't put the email here, so this is the kind of errors that we needed to see here. We're gonna put that later, and that's why we are adding the catch callback function here. I'm gonna make this something like this. All right. Okay, so yeah, that looks pretty good, but failed to import access from component login.jsx. Why? Okay, let us see. Did we really download Axios here? Oh, sorry, we haven't downloaded it. Okay, so let's download Axios. Haven't we downloaded Axios earlier? That's pretty weird. Okay, let's download that again. npm install Axios. Yeah, I think we haven't downloaded it yet, because if you successfully downloaded Axios, it's gonna appear here under the node modules. Let's try to see where to find the Axios. What's the matter? What's the matter with this? Can't find the Axios. But anyways, we're gonna successfully use. We're gonna have this Axios here. Yeah. It's under the node modules Axios index. Help me out here. I don't see it. But yeah, I think it's already there. Yep, I can see it. Okay, it doesn't matter. Maybe we'll just reload this. Reload. Do we have a reload? Okay, this one. Reload. Oh, there you go. It just needs reload sometimes. So this is also another way to ensure that, oh, okay, I've already downloaded the package. Where is it? So right under the node modules, and then yeah, you're just gonna have to see the list of the code, JavaScript code that are downloaded here under the node modules directory. Okay, enough of that. Let's jump. Let's try to see if we're actually passing this, So how do we test this? Okay, so let's save this, and we're not gonna see that error again. Okay, that's good. All right. Okay, so first off, I'm just gonna have this blank here so that we will see the errors. Okay, so I'm gonna console.log the error here, and yeah, we'll just try to see what it looks like on the the response. So let's try to do that. Okay, and also I'm also gonna see the response later. Let's have this res. So res. Okay, so just to have that consistency, but it doesn't matter. You can write the full word response, doesn't matter. So console.log res. Okay, so we're gonna test this. Okay, login. API login. No, we have the wrong endpoint here. We have the wrong endpoint. So let's try to copy and paste this. It's under v1 actually, so copy and paste that. Oh, there you go. Okay, let's do that again. Login. Okay, we got 422, and let me just zoom this in a little bit. You can see it clearly. Network. Okay, let's reload. Let's clear this up. Network. Let's try that again. And yeah, 422, and we got the response. Email field, password field is required. These are the kind of errors that we are going to make. We're gonna make appear here. Okay, I'm planning to put this right at the bottom of the, so the one that we did earlier, this one. So I'm gonna put this here, and this to this part right here. Okay, so all right, so yeah, let's do that. Okay, so I do want to like see the, the actual response of this error, because if you're gonna notice that we console.log the error here, but if you look at the console tab in your inspector in Google Chrome, you actually see a whole bunch of object that uh, it's quite confusing to see this. So what I wanted to find is the part that I see here, errors. So how do we do that? Well, it's actually inside the response and then the data. This is just how Axios arranged the the hierarchy of the object inside the response. So we're not gonna be needing those other objects here. We're just gonna focus our attention to the response and then the data and then the errors. So how do we display this actually? Okay, so I have a plan here. So okay, so let me just make this bigger. Let's focus on the code for the time being. Okay, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to have a state, I'm gonna use the use state hook from React. This one, to create a state that will store the value of the errors. Okay, so my plan is I'm just gonna use the const error, that one. I hope GitHub Copilot, okay, that's great, so I don't have to type it in. So that's what I wanted to do, and I wanted this to be an array, an empty array of function array, this error message here. So every time the user just clicks the login button here without typing the the email and the password, just the user just leaves it blank. I'm gonna make this error right here appear right underneath the email and the password field. So let's do that. Okay. What's the plan? Set error. Okay, so what I wanted to do here is I'm just gonna set this to set error, And yep, fair enough. GitHub Copilot just did it for us. So we're gonna actually use the error response data errors, but there's more to this. I'm gonna put an question mark here to make sure that we're not gonna be thrown an error when if the errors are empty. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, I hope this works. All right, so but that's not it yet, because if we try to see this right after we set the error, let's try to console.log this. Okay, let's do this again. Let's clear this up, log in, and if we go to the console, we're gonna see a bunch of data that we don't need. Okay, this one. Email field is required, so we are sure that once we set the error message here, we have captured the exact error messages on this value, and it's being stored inside this error state this error variable that is supposed to be a state in your login component. So now that we have this, we can actually display this here. Let me just make this bigger. So error.email, and then error that password. There you go. Alright. So we're putting question mark here to to see if the to check if there are if it's not gonna throw an error for us if we put check mark on the error message, because if we just do this here, there will be times that during the request the error the error state is empty, so it's gonna be throwing errors at runtime. So we put question mark there to ensure that it's not gonna throw us an error. Okay, so we have this now. All right, there you go. But there's a better explanation for this, but this is not the focus of the this is not the focus of the tutorial. Yeah, and fair enough. Yeah, it's really working. So we have this email field required, and if we try to put in a wrong password, let's do that again. Oh, no connection could be made because it's okay. MySQL just stopped at runtime. I'm not really sure why this happens, but yeah, the password does not belong to the user account. If you try to see this, this is what our REST API is throwing at us. So yeah, there you go. Now that we have that error message working, let's try to see if we are able to get the correct access token here. So the password is jack of traits, and login, and there you have it. We have successfully logged into the website, and the our backend REST API, which was created in Laravel, just created an access token for us, and we are receiving it here. Now the next plan would be storing this access token, in 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 the local storage. Okay, so let's do that. This is actually pretty simple here. Okay, let's go back to the code, and then instead of logging this one, I'm just going to save the token in the local storage. So you don't really have to know to just follow along. Let's follow along, and then well, actually, it's not under the rest.data token. It's actually access token. So GitHub Copilot didn't got it right there, but yeah. Okay. Yep, I think this looks good, and well, let's actually see if the right after we've inputted the correct email and password, our front end saves the access token in our local storage. We can check that under the application local storage. Okay, let's do that. Jack F traits. Let me just copy and paste that. Okay. Did I save that? Wait. Oh, I haven't saved that yet, so let me just save that again. Save the token in the local storage. Login. There you go. We have successfully stored it, but I don't want this. Let's make clear this. I want the full word access token, by the way. But it's just a matter of preference. You can do token, you can do whatever you want. I just want this to be access token. It's much clearer for me. Okay. Well, actually, the reason why we need the access token to be saved in the local storage, because we will be needing this access token in the succeeding request in the server, to the server. So each time we'll make a request, maybe retrieve a specific user, or retrieve a list of user using our Laravel Backend API, we're gonna be needing this. This is actually the standard way of single page application. So we're gonna need access token to like access specific resource in our project. Right now in our Laravel project, we only have, let me open the code. Let me just open the code here. New window. Where is that? This one. So we only have we got the login controller, the endpoint here, the log out, and then we also have this user controller that allows us to like check all the users that exist in our database. Right now we only have, if I go to my PHP my admin and Where is that Laravel API? This one. I only have this user, but that doesn't matter. So if you know if we try to simulate that here, we try to simulate the, let me paste that up. Let me paste this again. Well, actually, I am gonna use this access token here for you. Just copy and paste this, and then I'm gonna use this instead. So let's say I wanted to display all the users in the database, all the users from the database rather. Okay, so can I use get here? Actually, I'm gonna paste the bearer token here. We're gonna replace this with the actual one that we have here, and then API v1. Let me just PHP artisan route list. Okay, so we have the API v1 users get. So we're gonna users. I'm just checking out the endpoint. Notice that if you don't provide the token here, it's gonna throw an error. See that? So that's what we are actually doing, but instead of using Postman, this is just a simulation, we're going to be using this, an actual single page application that is consuming our existing Laravel backend API. Okay? Alright, so we're going to have that later in the next in succeeding videos, but let's just focus on this for now. Okay, so let's go back to our React front-end code, and yeah, we've already saved this, but it's kind of annoying to see that, okay, the password field is still required even though we already got the correct password and we already have set the access token. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to set the error to this one, and then yep, let's try that again. See, all right, so we got a new access token here. Well, it's probably gonna create another one here, the personal access tokens. We've got a bunch of these. Let me just empty the table here to make this cleaner. Okay, let's try that again. We got this new one. All right, there you go. Now what I'm planning is I wanted to have this some kind of right after you have successfully logged in. It's pretty common that when the users are successfully logged into a web app, it's gonna be redirected to the dashboard. So let's do that. Okay, let's go back to our code. And then let's close this. We don't need these guys anymore. Set error. So what I wanted to do is create another state here, which is logged in. This one. Okay, thank you Copilot for helping us out here. Is logged in, set is logged in, and I'm gonna type in this, hold the errors from the server. This is the state for the error messages. This one, and then this is that one. There you go. Okay, so if it's logged in, I'm gonna redirect it. So what I want to happen here is that when the user actually sets the, submits the correct email and password for his or her account, I want the set is logged in to true. But that is not enough. It's only gonna re-render the login component, but it's not gonna redirect our user. So we're gonna create a use effect. We're gonna add in some use effect here. That one. And yep, use effect, that's the correct syntax there. Is logged in. That one. And yep, this is actually the correct syntax. Just follow along. If you have Copilot, that's better, but yeah, just type this in. Window allocation href dashboard, actually. All right, so let's try that again. Jack of traits. There you go. Awesome. That's looking better. But yeah, the main problem with this code is that even if you're not logged in, let's clear this up. Even if you're not logged in, see what happens. You can still access the dashboard. It's not protected. So we're gonna fix that up. In the next video. So yeah, we're gonna change a bunch of stuff here. Let's say in the main.jsx, we're gonna change this. We're gonna actually create the routes here. We're gonna separate the authenticated routes with the unauthenticated routes. Okay, so but we will have that in the next video. Alright, so yeah, thanks for following along, and we're gonna continue the rest of them in the next video, so I'll see you then.